Welcome to First Time Watching. Ready or Not, we are back with the second installment of the Final Girl franchise. With Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. After surviving one deadly game, Grace and her sister Faith must now outrun 4 rival families competing for a powerful throne where the winner takes all. In the video, I'm going to explain the ending and talk about if there is going to be a third adventure coming for Grace and her sister. So please, like, subscribe and hype up the video as we kick things off with a movie recap of Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. After the mansion of Grace's ex-husband's family burned down and the police arrived, she fainted from the overwhelming emotions of what just happened to her. In the ambulance, she goes into cardiac arrest. The paramedics do their best to get a pulse and luckily manage to get her back. She wakes up in the hospital, shackled to her bed. Detective Bassett is there to question her. They suspect her of killing the entire Lee-Domas family. The blood found on her clothing wasn't hers. Her sister Faith barges into the room, interrupting the interrogation. They aren't exactly close, but Bassett gives them a minute to reacquaint themselves, and then he'll take Grace to the station. Grace asks Faith where she's been living. She tells her New York, which pisses Grace off. She could have told her that they lived that close to each other, but apparently Grace made it very clear that she doesn't want to be sisters, so Faith took that seriously. Also, she didn't want to be around a negative person like her. Grace tells her she isn't a negative person. Faith just doesn't know what she's just been through. Faith invites her to explain, but Grace thinks she won't believe her, so she explains that she had to pull a card after the wedding. She pulled hide and seek, which meant the entire family started to hunt her to sacrifice her to the devil. She could win by staying alive till dawn, but that would mean they die. So she won and they exploded. And then, after there was this guy in a chair who nodded at her. He was see-through, so she thinks he was the devil. Yeah, says Faith, you are definitely going to jail. The lawyer greets Mr. Danforth. He has some news. He tells him that the Lee-Domases are gone, so Danforth tells him that he'll inform the others. He sends out a text that the bride has survived. All the big players are excited. This is their chance to grab the throne. Danforth calls in his children and tells them the Lee-Domases failed, and it's up to them to secure the crown for the Danforth family. But to put the responsibility into their hands, they first have to end him, so they take the pillow and suffocate their own father. Bassett starts the transfer of Grace when a knife flies into his neck. The first contender has showed up and doesn't care about the rules. Bill Wilkinson is looking for Grace. Faith wants to know what the fuck is going on. They try to sneak out while this coked-up bastard looks for them. Grace takes the gun off of Bassett when he jumps in front of her, disarms her, and throws her to the ground. But before he can stab Grace, he explodes. Grace tells Faith there will be more, so they have to get out of there and disappear. Grace puts her wedding dress back on because she won't be able to fight in a hospital gown. But on their way out, the elevator opens. The lawyer throws in a sleep grenade. He sees the mess Wilkinson left and tells his colleague that is what happens when you break Mr. LaBelle's rules. The Danforth children interrupt a wedding and tell everybody they will need to vacate the premises. They need the building for a special occasion. The council is meeting up for the first time since October 1963. Titus and Ursula Danforth first welcome Ignacio and Filippo Kaido. Francesco will join them later. Chen Sing and Cheng Fu arrive after. Then Adu, Raj, and Martine pull up, and that's when a helicopter brings their guest of honor. They unveil Grace and Faith to the families. They introduce themselves, and this is also the moment that Titus and Ursula reveal the untimely passing of their father, and thus, because they are twins, they will both be playing, which is a dick move, according to the others. Of course, the doors behind them open as the lawyer walks in. He looks at Grace and tells her he is the attorney for Mr. LaBelle and the LaBelle organization. The organization is led by a council of 6 families. Now, by surviving the Lee-Domases game of hide and seek, she triggered a very rare law in their organization. In their council, there is one seat with more powers than the others. It comes with the sigil of power, and by now, that has been held by the old geezer from the Danforth family. But because she won the game, she now has a chance to win this high seat in the council, but the heads of the remaining councils will of course also have a chance to win the seat for themselves. She tells him she doesn't want their fucking chair, but sadly, that is not an option. He who holds the high seat controls the world, and according to the rules, she will have to play the same game again. But this time with the council members, same rules. She will have to survive until dawn, and then the winner will be crowned in the Black Temple. Grace tells him she is not playing, but the lawyer tells her she'll have to compete. She tells him no, so one of his goons puts a knife on Faith's neck. The lawyer tells them the game will start at exactly 2:31 p.m. when Francesca barges into the room, and she is angry because she was Grace's husband, Alex's ex-fiancé. They inject both Grace and Faith with a sedative. As the lawyer goes on to explain that the council members may only use medieval weapons and may not kill each other, they all sign the contract with blood. Now, finally, the families may watch from the club room. If one of the hunters falls, the person next in line must take their place. They transport the girls to the 9th hole green as they start the game. The Danforths started off by cheating. They took the keys from the other family's golf carts, so they have a head start. Grace and Faith wake up. They have to move, but Faith thinks this is a great time to settle their differences first. The Danforths are halfway there when a drone flies over, piloted by Chen Sing. The drone closes in on the girls. She tries to tell them that she had her lawyers look at the rules and that she found a loophole. There is a way to save them, but then the drone gets destroyed. Ursula shot it. The girls run for the tree line and make it to a wall that surrounds the playing field. Ursula is nearby. She tries to taunt Grace into coming out of hiding, while Titus sneaks up on them. He pulls them onto the ground and tries to choke Grace, but Faith pushes him off, and they make a run for it. They are out in the open, which puts them in the line of sight of Ignacio's sniper. Luckily for them, he's an absolute dumbass and fires off an accidental warning shot. They run. His aim is ass, so they make it to the gazebo for cover. Faith has a great idea. They use an outside heater to burn leaves to create a smoke screen when Adu runs up to them with a machete. They dodge as Ignacio shoots the gas tank, and Adu gets caught in the blast. Lucky for Ignacio, he survives, but the girls use his confusion to run off and make it into a building. Grace is wounded. She has a bunch of shrapnel in her arm. Faith pulls out the shards and disinfects the wounds. Grace tells Faith that she tried to find her to invite her to the wedding, but then Adu walks in. The girls hide, but he hears the door creak as they sneak out. Grace tells her sister they are going to have to fight. They find a saw that they use to break the handcuffs, and as Adu comes walking, they slam a cart into him. They manage to disarm him and push him into an industrial washing machine. They cook him and check his body for a phone. The lawyer informs Raj that it is his turn to take the field, but he is a pussy-ass bitch and hands over the rights to his household to his wife and tells her to go hunt in his stead. She will kill him for this, but accepts the offer. Grace tries to call the police, but Ursula thought of that and arranged to intercept all outgoing calls. She acts like she is the dispatcher. She tells them to get to the main gate. They'll send someone, but on the way out, they run into Chen Sing. She tells her there is a way out of this. She wants to offer her a deal. There is a loophole. If Grace marries her son, she'll get the high seat and the games end immediately. Faith agrees, but Grace isn't so sold on the idea of being part of the organization. Ignacio shoots and misses, but Chen blocks his shot, so Grace uses the moment and grabs her and uses her to stab Ignacio, which makes her kill him, so she explodes, and her entire bloodline too. Faith arms herself with Chen's katana and asks her sister why she said no. Grace explains she doesn't want to spend her life killing people. Faith is angry with her for leaving her with their foster parents. They were a team, but Grace couldn't take her. She was 18 when Faith was 15. She had nothing. She was gonna try to build something for them, but when she was able to stand on her own feet, Faith didn't talk to her anymore. Grace apologizes for leaving her. Then they go outside and call the cops again because they don't see a cop car. And as Ursula and Titus make their way to the gate, Faith and Grace sneak up on them and disarm Ursula. They take her gun. They recognize her voice on the phone. They aren't stupid, so they've been watching them. They want to know how to open the gate. Titus tells them you can only do it from the control room. So Grace tells Ursula to go and open it, or they'll kill her brother. She says, fine, kill him. Titus distracts them when a car drives right at them. It's Raj's crazy wife, Martina. She slams right through the gate. Grace is fighting Ursula and tells Faith to run, but Ursula stabs Grace, so Faith comes back to save her. Titus blocks their path, so they run to the golf cart and steal it from them. Raj tells the lawyer he'll go out now, but the lawyer tells him he just signed all his rights away, so he doesn't own anything anymore. His entire empire belongs to his wife now. That's when Francesca walks in. She is ready to hunt. Grace and Faith make it to a dining room where Grace pulls a giant spike out of her shoulder that Ursula jabbed into her. Faith finds some pepper spray when Grace gets angry with Faith for not running away when she told her to. She tells her she was right to leave, and she wishes Faith never found her, so she says she's right and leaves. Grace gets up to go after Faith when Francesca walks in with a bazooka, but she is holding it backwards, so she runs at Grace and they pepper spray each other. Meanwhile, Faith decides to go back when Titus hits her in the throat. Grace and Francesca try their best to find each other, but are just hitting in circles. Faith kicks Titus Titus in the nuts and stumbles off, but he is a lot faster than her and throws her to the floor. Francesca climbs on top of Grace and hits her in the face over and over again. She is still not over Alex, leaving her for a better model. She thinks she stole him. Grace charges at Francesca, grabs a keyboard and knocks her out. Titus is kicking Faith till near death when Ursula finds him, but even she can't stop his rage, and he hits her too. She tells him to stop, they can use her. So Titus uses the intercom to tell Grace that he has her sister. He tells her to return to the lobby now, or she'll die, and he'll find her anyway. Grace is wondering what she should do and spots a firearm locker in the security office. She arms herself with a shotgun and checks the camera, where she sees that they are taking Faith to the lodge. At the door of the lodge, Francesca is waiting, and she catches the first couple of shotgun shells. The family members are shocked that Grace came to them. Faith calls out to her, so Grace follows her voice and finds one of the Danforth losers when little Philippe walks in with 2 Uzis. Grace runs off and notices she is out of ammo. She locks herself into the storage closet. Titus pushes Faith to the glass and demands her to come out, but Grace tells him she'll come out if Titus marries her. She explains what Chen Sing told her. He accepts the proposal, which horrifies Ursula, but he swears to Mr. LaBelle that he won't harm Grace or Faith, so she comes out. Titus takes her to a bedroom and tells her to get ready. The guests are already arriving. After she is done, Ursula walks in to have a toast with Grace. She tells her she never wanted to hurt her. She tells her she's scared of her brother. She spent her whole life searching for the good in him, but there is none. She thought she could keep him in check, but she can't. She needs Grace to help her. Then maybe they can save the world. But Grace tells her no. They took everything from her. She doesn't have much left to give. That's when Titus walks in. He thanks his sister for showing him who she really is and grabs her by the neck. He wants to show Grace that he can't be controlled. He tells her there is nothing in the rules about killing your own family and snaps Ursula's neck, and then he walks off. Deep in the compound's dungeon is the Black Temple, the place where they will fulfill their marital vows. Grace walks into the room and steps onto the altar where she smiles at her sister. The lawyer starts the ritual. The large ritualistic star in the middle of the room opens up as the lawyer invites Titus to sacrifice some of his blood and then Grace. Titus says, "I do," and writes his name in both their blood. Grace also says she does and takes the pen to write hers. They take their rings as the lawyer pronounces them man and wife, and Titus steps forward to kiss his bride. And with this, Titus Danforth is granted the high seat in the Council of LaBelle. And then Grace grabs the pen and sticks it in Titus's neck. She stabs him over and over, grabs the council ring and tells him it's not against the rules to kill a family member. Faith steps forward and she kicks him into the sacrificial hole. Grace slips the council ring onto her finger and demands the members to get onto their knees. And then she looks at the lawyer and asks him she can do whatever she wants now, right? He tells her that's correct. So she tells them all she will remove herself from the organization completely. She wants nothing to do with it and wants none of the power. The lawyer says she can. That would mean that the first person to get the ring next before dawn would be the new leader of the council. But dawn is in 3 minutes and it's open to anyone. But if no one is wearing the ring by dawn, Mr. LaBelle will be very upset. Grace takes it off and throws the ring into the sacrificial hole. The members jump into the hole one by one. Even some of the unaffiliated guards jump in. They fight at the bottom of the pit as Grace looks at the lawyer. He tells her she's free. So Grace and Faith take the goat and walk off while the cult members stab and kill each other for the ring. Time's up, and all the people inside the sacrificial hole blow up into a bloody mist, except for Raj. He is super happy to have survived, but there was just a little delay on his explosion so that he could splatter over the girls. Mr. LaBelle appears above the lawyer and gives the girls a nod, while the lawyer smiles. On their way out, Faith takes the katana while Grace smokes a cigarette, and they say "I love you" to each other. At least they won't abandon each other ever again as they walk off. So in the end, it's Titus's hubris that helps Grace and Faith escape. The plans for survival come from Chen Sing, who explains to Grace that if she marries one of the members, she will give that member all the power over the council. But she will survive too. But that's not what Grace wants. She doesn't want to sell her soul away to some crazy Satan cult. But when her sister's life is on the line, she changes her mind and agrees to marry the worst family member around, the tyrant Titus himself. Except he loses because he literally teaches Grace how to get out of it by killing his sister in front of her and telling her it's allowed to kill family because after marrying Titus, Grace is officially married into the family. She can kill him freely and take his throne. It was the perfect plan. But Grace does not want the power, and since there are no rules because the devil never even thought about someone not wanting his power, Grace could easily give it up and kill off the rest of the families by making them fight for the ring for their last remaining minutes. Even LaBelle himself was amused with how she found every loophole in his rules, which was also shown by the lawyer smiling at the end. But there is one plot hole in this entire movie. Raj signed over his entire estate and rights to his wife, Martina, which means she dies even though we do not get to see it. But he should be in the same situation as Grace, so it's weird to me that LaBelle killed him. He should have been killed by the girls in my opinion. All the blood and death folded into Ready or Not 2's ending doesn't mean the movie ends on a down note. Grace and Faith have achieved freedom and are last seen leaving the Danforth property with the sacrificial goat they saved. Not only are they free, but they've fully patched up their relationship and are ready to be sisters again. This leaves Ready or Not 3 in an uncertain spot. The movie's ending works as the culmination of their story, and they really deserve a chance to have some happy times together after what they've just endured. There is no direct tease for a sequel, which makes another entry unnecessary to give audiences a complete story. It's worth noting that directors Matt Bettinelli-Olpin and Tyler Gillett revealed that Grace's story is complete with Ready or Not 2's ending in interviews, suggesting that a third film is unlikely to come from them. But sadly, you never truly know, because the franchise is very popular and Hollywood loves an easy cash grab. And that's a wrap. Please like, subscribe, and hype up the video, and I'll see you next time.